Greetings, Willow here again with another lesson in tarot. Today we are going to talk about the court cards and the suits and how they all relate, so that it'll give you a little bit of an overview. Don't forget to take notes in your tarot workbook or notebook that you keep, your journal, so you can have that for future reference. Now, my opinions and the way I describe each one of the cards may be different from the book that maybe you have with your tarot deck. It's fine, because you're going to start to tweak this to be more your own anyway. I'm just giving you some ideas and basic information so that you can get really good at reading tarot for yourself. So let's get started with our court cards. Okay, so first, of course, we're going to start with our page. We're going to start with the Page of Pentacles. Now, remember what Pentacles represent. It's our earth energy. So it is going to be our money and things like that, our money and possessions and our health. So when we look at the pages, pages are going to be representing the beginner, the novice, and also any messages that might be coming in regarding whatever that suit represents. So this could be money messages or health messages. But when we look at the page, we are seeing the beginner, we are seeing the novice, but they can also represent a person. So sometimes you may be asked, well, is there someone that is causing something? Is there somebody in the background that might be influencing a situation? A page would represent a young person or a young female. So that is generally the representation of the pages, okay? So Page of Pentacles, money-related things, health-related things, messages and new beginnings in them. Come to the Page of Swords. Now, the Page of Swords, swords are always two-edged, right? But when we see a Page of Swords, it's somebody that is a little scared to start something new, but they've done everything, they've practiced, they're ready to go, but they still might have a little apprehension. Also, I find that this is also a messenger, but sometimes the message comes across a little more sharply because they don't always think before they speak. More of an immature communicator, okay? But once again, it would also represent a child, a young person, or a young female. The next one we're going to look at, the Page of Wands. Pages, we're looking at new beginnings here again. We're looking at new starts, maybe a new job, or starting off into college, starting our own business. Sometimes we think we've learned everything we can, but at the same time, there may be things that you are still apprehensive about. It's still kind of scary, but as long as you are brave enough to try it, you'll be fine. But it's also a message regarding things like job opportunities or the start of that new business. You get the right message for it, okay? Once again, young people, children, and young females. That's what it represents. Moving on to the Page of Cups. I'm just trying to hold the cards here at an angle so they don't glare from the light. So the Page of Cups, that can represent a new undertaking in the area of emotion. So what could this represent? This could be something that, like, this is my baby, man. I'm really starting this new business, and I'm very excited about it. It's my heart. This is everything I have. This is my whole passion and love. This is what I really want. It could be as simple as getting news that you're getting that new puppy. But it could also be the start of maybe a new romance. And there, of course, we see Yoshi walking in the background. She's always got to get in on the camera. She's always photobombing me. So the Page of Cups is about new beginnings that have to do with emotion and messages regarding things that have to do with emotion, okay? Now, we're going to move on to the Knights. The Knight of Pentacles, I always see this as on the quest for your money, on the quest for what you truly want in the material area. Maybe you're on the hunt for better health and well-being, or you want a new home, but you're on the quest. Knights are on the horses. Think about that. The knight on the horse, on the quest. They're always after something. And the Holy Grail is whatever you're going after, I guess. But the knights sometimes rush in too quickly. So you also need to remember that. So you have to be prepared. So get all the knowledge and information ahead of time so that you really know that you're ready to rush into whatever this is. All right, moving on to the Knight of Swords. Now this knight, I generally see him as someone on the quest for knowledge and information and maybe better communication, because that's what the swords represent, right? Now, he also can rush headlong into your life, and sometimes it can represent new love, even though it's not cups. The Knight of Swords has always been a tricky one like that. Anyone who rushes headlong into your life, so there's new people. The Knights are generally indicative to being more masculine energy. So that can represent a male in the situation or in the reading. So Knight of Swords. Now let's move on to the Knight of Wands. Now this card represents what? Fire energy. So we're looking at career, business, projects, and spiritual endeavors, our spirit. Excuse me. And so when we have this Knight of Wands, he is on the quest for those things. Maybe you're starting a new job. You're really on the quest for that, your career. You really want to make it move. That is what this is representing. And when we get fire energy, that's real strong movement. That's like some passion going towards that career and really focusing on it, really a lot. So when we see this, remember the knights are on quests, and this is your fire energy. The next one, the Knight of Cups. So what does your heart desire? That's what you're heading after. That's your quest, going after your dreams. Don't get lost in your dreams, however. Make sure you have a good roadmap. Get that GPS to where your dreams are heading. Make sure they're very focused so you aren't getting lost. Because the Knight of Cups can sometimes be a little dreamy and can get lost in the emotion. So just make sure that you have done your research and that you're really focused on what you're going after. It's great to have passion. It's great to go after what you really want, but make sure you're prepared for it and you're not just dreaming some pie in the sky hopes, okay? It's great to work towards money, but if you're sitting there hoping to win the lotto, a lot of people play, and yeah, you might win a little bit, but you're never going to win. You may never win the big jackpot, okay? So you can't just focus all of your money and interests on that. So it's very important that you're focused when it comes to that Knight of Cups. So the next cards we're going to look at are our queens. I like to call them our mom cards, because what does mom do? She nurtures, right? So when we look at the different suits, we're looking now here at Pentacles. She would be the kind of energy you would use when you are nurturing your money, your finances. You might also be nurturing business. Even though she's not Wands, she's still that kind of energy. I also see her as someone that would nurture your health. If you haven't been taking care of yourself and she pops up, it's going to tell you, hey, it's time to take care of yourself more. What's your health look like? So this is an important card in the way of nurturing the physical. Okay. Then we get the Queen of Swords. Now the Queen of Swords is this card of nurturing once again, but swords are our mind and our communication. So when you look at the Queen of Swords, she's going to help you learn new things, nurturing the mind, right? She may also be showing you that you need to nurture some communication. Maybe there was a falling out with someone. Maybe you need to be the mediator, be the mom, sit the two kids down and make them talk things out. But that's generally the kind of energy that we get when we see the Queen of Swords. Now, the next one here is our Queen of Wands. Once again, she is a nurturing card. She nurtures our fire energy. So when you are working on projects, when you are trying to work on your career or nurture your business, also if you're nurturing your spirit, if you've been trying to start new spiritual endeavors, maybe you're trying to learn how to read the tarot, maybe you are learning about crystals or stones, or you want to learn about other healing modalities, anything like that. She will come up because she represents that nurturing of whatever your endeavors are. Your fire energy. What do you really want to nurture with this card? Okay. Now, the final one of the queens is our Queen of Cups. Now, I really love her. She nurtures relationships. That's the kind of energy, but also the relationship we have with ourselves. A lot of times I see her and I realize that the client needs self-care. They may be burning the candle at both ends. Maybe they haven't been taking care of themselves enough. And that's why we would get the Queen of Cups popping up. Also, what if there's been a falling out? And they really just need to let go of their anger and start to send out love energy. And that might help the situation a lot more by nurturing it with love. And let's move on finally to the kings. We have our 4 kings. We have the King of Pentacles to start. Now, what are kings? Kings are the ruler of the kingdom. So in this case, the ruler of your life or whatever area of your life. This king, the King of Pentacles, is going to rule over the material, the physical part. This is going to be ruling over your money, your belongings, your home, your property, and also your health and well-being. So when we look at the king, we also may sit back and go, well, I need to assess my kingdom. Do I have enough money? Do I have enough belongings and possessions? And how is my health and well-being? Do I need to work on anything? So he can be both an assessment and a ruler of the suit of Pentacles, okay? Now we have our good old trusty King of Swords. When we have a King of Swords, he rules over the mind and communication. So if you are really thinking before you speak, you are ruling over communication. Especially, let's say you're in a really important meeting and the way you choose your words is going to make it or break it in this deal. And so it's very important to think before you speak. But that can be in any aspect of your life. What if you are having issues in your relationship? Maybe you need to think before you speak. Maybe that will help that situation. You want a victory. That's always what it is. You need this victory, but you want it to be by the right means, in the right way, without a nasty ending. So you have to think before you speak. Now, also ruling over the mind. How do you see things? How are you perceiving this situation? Are you looking at it as it's all their fault, or are you looking at it from an outside point of view, looking in, going, we need to talk about this, because I don't think that any of us are looking at this correctly. Maybe we all have our own agendas. So this King of Swords can use his mind and his words to get things accomplished and everything turns out better. If he's reversed, that's another story for another day. So reversals will mean a little bit different, okay? Maybe it means you really need to think before you speak. The next king we're looking at is your King of Wands. He is about success. He is about feeling successful without being boastful. I always see this King of Wands, he's a little more compassionate than maybe some of the others. He thinks about things in a logical and reasonable way, but with some compassion. Also, when we see the King of Wands, you may have found success. You may be looking at finally reaching your goals. He's a great card for goal success if that comes up in a reading. Okay. And finally, we're looking at the King of Cups. Now, he will rule over your emotions and rule over your heart. So if you were looking at this king and maybe he popped up and you're asking about if you should maybe choose this career path or not, depending if he's upright or reversed, might mean, are you passionate about it or are you just doing it for the money? Because when you love something, when you put your heart into it, when you rule over it with your passion and your heart, you're going to find more success. But also, this king can represent being in a strong relationship, not a bad relationship, but one that is full of love. So it is important to look at all your kings for their suits. You also want to look at them as the ruler. Are you paying attention? What are you ruling over? Are you ruling over your material stuff more than your heart? Your heart more than your head? So you have to look at all these things when you look at the kings. They also represent a mature male. So that is what our court cards are representing for us. Now, I hope that you are still keeping notes in your tarot journal. And of course, if you need any contact with me, feel free to reach out through my website, willowlemechant.com. You can also follow me on Facebook or Instagram. And all those links are going to be down below in the video. And until next time, be blessed.